Okay guys, in this part, I'll show you how to set up your pitch on your Blueray 450. The tools that you would need in this part is a pitch gauge and a ball link remover tool. Okay, and the most important thing before you start messing with the pitch or anything is to remember to unplug your ESC wires from your motor. That will prevent any accidental startups. As the next step, you want to center all of your trim tabs to the center. Center, 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 center. And you will want to put the throttle stick at mid stick. And if you look closely at the mark, there is a mark in on the gimbal, and you just want to align it with the center of the remote. After you guys are done centering all of your trim tabs to the center and putting your throttle stick at mid stick, the next thing you want to do is to turn on your transmitter and to turn on your Blueray by plugging in your battery to the ESC. Turn this on for you guys. Alrighty. And by putting the throttle stick at mid stick, you will want to make sure that all of the servo arms, like here in the back and the front, and the other side is straight out. Basically, just you want to make sure that they're parallel to the ground or perpendicular to the swash plate, but it's kind of hard. So I like to use the frame and the ground just to make sure that they're straight across. That's a very important thing, guys. And the next thing you want to do is to make sure your swash is level. Just look at it, and if the front or the back seems higher, just use your ball link tool and just pop off the link and just adjust the links in or out depending on the number of turns you need to do, and just make sure that the swash is level. And after you are done getting all of that level, guys, what you want to do is to make sure that your lower mixing arms are even on both sides. A tip to make sure that they're even on both sides is to look at the ball and the screw on the lower mixing arms. Just make, once they're lined up together like these right here, guys, you know that the both sides are even with each other. And the next thing is to make sure that your upper mixing arm is level too. Basically, what you want to do is to look at the upper mixing arm right here, guys, and make sure that the long side is parallel with the ground. Basically, you can see right here, it's parallel with the ground. And the washout base down here, the lower mixing arms, it's parallel too. So once you guys are done doing all of that, I forgot to mention something. Sorry guys. I forgot to mention another important thing when you're setting up your pitch is to make sure that your flybar paddles is even with your flybar cage. Just look at the leading edge and the trailing edge and make sure that it is even with the flybar cage. I like to use the screws on the flybar cage as a what you call that? As an indicator. Start that part over.
Yeah.
I like to use the flybar cage. I like to use the screws on the flybar cage as an indicator to make sure that your paddles are even with the flybar cage. It's a very important thing to make sure that your flybar paddles are even, because if it's not, it will cause weird things in the air. It will cause your helicopter to drift left or right, or when you're flying inverted or doing forward flight, it can cause your helicopter just to drift to the left or right or pitch up or pitch down. So try to get these paddles as level as possible on both sides. And if you guys are a 3D flyer, since I'm already talking about the flybar paddles, I would recommend you to move the flybar weights to the very inside. That speeds things up a lot. But if you're beginners, I would recommend you to leave the weights all the way on the outside of the flybar, all the way on the outside, because it will slow things down and it will tame the helicopter down a lot. So
okay guys, the next step is to set up or to check your pitch and your blades. I'm just kidding, I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm just a hamster.
sorry about that, guys. That was my hamster talking there. Alrighty guys, after you guys are done checking your blades to make sure that there's zero pitch at mid stick, the next thing you want to do is to check how much positive and negative pitch you have. Basically, all you do is just to put your throttle stick all the way up, which is the full positive pitch position, and check your pitch gauge. Basically, same thing. Just make sure you just move it until the top of the pitch gauge is even with the fly bar, and right now we have a little bit over 12 degrees of positive pitch, which is a little too much, but for my likings, I like to have more pitch than not have enough pitch, because it allows me to well, actually it makes me control my pitch more, so I have better collective pitch management. And then when you check for full down, same thing. You just move your throttle stick to the down position and just move your pitch gauge until it's even. And once it's even with the fly bars, and you can see again we have a little bit over 12.5 again, which is a little bit more than enough, but I like it like that. And if you guys don't like to have that much pitch, and if you're a beginner, I would recommend like maybe 10 degrees of pitch, and actually to get 10 degrees of pitch you would have to use the software that is included with the Blueray 450 and reprogram the remote, which is very easy, guys. But you know, you can fly with 12. I like it because I'm a 3D flyer and I like to have a lot of pitch. Alrighty. Oh, and if you guys are checking negative pitch, I forgot to mention that you will want to make sure that your 3D switch is on the full position, because, well, let me try to get the helicopter and the remote close to you guys so you guys can see. If you don't have it in the 3D position, you will not be able to check your negative pitch, because it would only give you like 2 degrees. But once you put it in 3D position, it allows you to check for the full range of negative. So remember, if you're checking 3D, just make sure you have your 3D switch on, and that's why it's very important to unplug your ESC wires from your motor, because if I didn't, it just would have went to idle up mode and it just would have spun, cut off my fingers, or you know, hit me in the head or something, and that wouldn't be too good. Alrighty. And sometimes a lot of people, like, they can't get an even amount of positive and negative pitches because their center pitch or mid stick is not at 0. Sometimes you have like 1 or 2 degrees of pitch, and that will give you an uneven pitch travel range. So remember to adjust your mid stick for 0 pitch, because that's very important, guys. Just, you know, base point for any 3D flyers to have your mid stick at 0 pitch. Okay, and after you guys are done checking how much positive and negative pitch you have, you'll want to check your cyclic pitch range. Basically, what you want to do is to put your throttle stick at mid stick again, guys, and move your aileron stick either left or right. And this is how you would check. Well, this is how you check your cyclic pitch range. You move it to the full left, and basically you can need 2 hands for this. One hand to hold the remote and one hand to check your blades. And you want to do it again, guys. Just make sure that your pitch gauge and your fly bars are even, and we have right about here, and they're even, and we have about 7.5 degrees of pitch, cyclic pitch, for the left aileron. And same thing, you check the right, which should be about 7.5 degrees too, because that's how it's programmed in the remote. Everything is even and equal. Yep, 7.5 degrees. Alrighty, and to check how much cyclic pitch you have for your elevator, you just same thing, you know, 0 pitch right here, guys, and just go down and check how much down you have, which is about it's about 6 degrees, and you check up, which is about 6 degrees too. I like to have my cyclic pitch set at around 7 or 8 degrees, but some people like to have it at 6 or 7. I'm a 30 flyer and I love the fast cyclic, so I like to have it around 7 or 8. Some people use 9, but 9 just draws a lot of power from your battery, so 8. Well, I would recommend 8 if you're a 30 flyer. So, and you can't really make any outside adjustments on your remote. So the only way to get more cyclic pitch is to use your software that is included with the Blueray 450, and you just plug it in, and you open up the T6 config software and just, you know, reprogram your remote. And to do that, you know, it's very easy, guys. But if you guys have any questions on it, you know, just send us a message or an email, and I can help you guys set up your transmitter to get more pitch or more cyclics if you guys like to. Okay. And basically we're done with the pitch setup. And now the next step is to adjust your tail.